Hello and welcome to another episode of RimWorld. We are immediately greeted by several critical conditions on the right side. Will and Gabe are still incapacitated. Gabe is in a catatonic state, and Will has just been beaten up quite a bit. Nathan is in the fields hunting a boar, and I noticed that there is a boom rat who needs rescue, which means a perfect opportunity for us to kill him and harvest his body for meat. So we'll send Jop out to do that. Nathan is still working on a boar, but he can bring that back in for us after he's done that. He's already hit it once, so one or two more shots should do the trick. Down it goes. If I was thinking better, I should have had Jop grab that boar and start butchering it, and left the boom rat out here in the fields. I think I called it a boomalope. I definitely did last episode too. They are different species, but I always get them confused. Anyways, we are given the chance to name our faction, which is the main name that we will be referred to. And then there's also a settlement name, which I don't really have much of an opinion, but for the faction, I decided to call us the Loyal Macaroons. I couldn't think of anything for a settlement. I thought about my hometown, which is Nanaimo, but quickly decided against it because, I don't know, I think it's fun to have non-realistic names. Not that White Quarry is unrealistic, but it just seemed like a name better suited for the colony. Anyways, Nathan is trying to feed Will a whole boar, and I don't want that, so I will put him on cooking so that he is able to butcher said boar. Get him a few steps away from the boar so he doesn't immediately pick it up, and get to hacking. While that is going on, we can check in on Jop to see how he's going with the boom rat. He's almost there. One thing I forgot to consider is that they do explode when they die, and that's right in front of Jop's face. He does suffer a bit of damage, so he will be patching himself up for a while, as he's not particularly good at his medical skill yet. And as that happens, Nathan finishes with his butchering, and he is off to grab the boom rat that just self-destructed. Quickly we'll get him to refuel the fire, and then he can continue on with his thing. Another thing I guess he's trying to feed pork to Will, which isn't what I want him to do, of course. So we'll get Nathan distracted by hauling the boom rat, but I probably should have got Jop to do it. But once he's done patching himself up, he will get to cooking the meat. I guess it's not too big of a deal. We do want to wait for 40 meat, so that we can cook 4 meals at once instead of doing it 4 separate times. But we will get ready to send him there. You can see that Jop has burned his torso and lower legs from the explosion, but nothing permanent. Those wounds will go away. And you can see the rice plants are basically done. There's a couple 99% completed there, so if we're able to, we'll try to get Jop to harvest some rice, or Nathan. I decided to go with, I think, Jop for the cooking and Nathan for the harvesting of the rice. And that should put us in a pretty good position for food. As Jop makes his way back along with Nathan, we will skip ahead to the next interesting moment. On day 6, our overly ecstatic Will gets out of bed. He quickly heads over to, I believe, Gabe. I don't check who he's feeding, but it's not himself. And then takes down a meal himself. And we will be able to start adjusting the workflow of everyone, as Will can now get back to cooking and harvesting the rice. We can remove Nathan and Gabe from doing those tasks. You can see a bit of rice has already been harvested. Nathan was doing that last night while Jop was cooking it all up. And Will quickly wants to feed some more rice to Gabe. But that's inefficient, so we will get him harvesting that rice before he gets to cooking. And hopefully we will be able to have a bit of a surplus of food. Again, Nathan is trying to feed that rice. So we will get Will onto cooking, and Nathan is off to hunt some meat. Will is happy to be back. Anytime someone has a mental breakdown, they will receive a +40, which is a huge mood boost. And for a catharsis, it's called. So even though Will didn't actually murder anyone, he's still happy about being able to express himself, I guess. Nathan's still working on the hair. And Will have, hopefully, a decent amount of cooking ahead of him. You can see Gabe and Jop are not doing so well, but that's how it goes. We'll install a hoop ring, as Jop is too bored already of looking at a fire and simply sitting around. Hoopstone will also improve the colonist shooting, which is always useful. Gabe, Nathan, and Will all benefit from it. Jop will not, but it's fine. It's better than nothing. And Will is still a little beat up, but he's able to get to that hoopstone right away. Voila. But he's back to his rice. There's no time for games. And then sleep is on the schedule, it looks like, for him. Nathan is done with his hair. Whether he killed it or not, who knows? But he has nothing in sight. We can see a boar is down and out from getting shot once and then just left to slowly bleed out and die, so Nathan can clean up that kill for us. And Jop is fully healed from his boom rat explosion earlier in the episode. But he was not too hindered to begin with. After a long stretch of not really too much happening, we are struck with an aurora heading into our 7th night. And you can see on the left, I have started building a few, or placed a few schematics on where I would like our production to be. And the bottom is the stove, and then on the left wall is the butchering spot. The adjacent to it on the right will be the art bench, and at the top is the research bench. I think some of those will be restricted based on our construction ratings, but they're just plans for the future. We have 2 walls laid down at the moment. We've been doing okay with food. We're still not necessarily comfortable, but no one is starving to death and no one has had any breakdowns. And this little aurora for the night will make the fellas happy for a bit. Gabe is still incapacitated and everyone else is asleep. We've started mining a bit with the Jop south where there's some steel. He's completed the path all the way through that I originally laid out for him. And that's about it for him. We'll continue cooking into the night. Oh, and as I say that, Gabe is no longer incapable of walking, though he is asleep for right now. Hopefully he will be up and at it soon. He has no injuries, which is pretty nice, as we've had plenty of people slowly waltzing around from their fights and Jop's explosion. More dead animals left on the map by Nathan. But with Gabe back in business, we can get a little more of the harvesting done of the rice. As you can see, we haven't actually had time to plant any more rice. We've hardly even harvested the rice that has grown. But we will be able to get to it. And it's one extra hunter. There goes Gabe right now. Not sure what he's up to, but I'm sure we'll find out soon. Making a knife. With the steel that Jop has mined, we now have the necessary resources to do so. And that knife will be for Jop specifically. It's a small upgrade over the club that he has. And there's Jop hammering away at a bit more of the wood. And if you can get that door finished, if he can do it. I'm not sure if he will, but if he gets it done, that will be our first little room, like officially an indoor area, which I initially put Will's room in because he's an indoors person, but then I attempt to put him under the mountain in that little path that Jop has carved, thinking that because he's an undergrounder, he will appreciate the overhead mountain area. But I think with the doors, or with it still being outdoors, he doesn't particularly care about it. And so I just decided to keep Gabe in the indoor room, as I feel like he's the most fragile and we don't need him having another mental breakdown. Eventually, of course, everyone will have an indoor room, as it is just a little more safe, I suppose, and makes the colonists all the happier. There's the knife that Gabe has made, and it is of normal quality, which, given how primitive we are, is pretty good. And he is now working on the first tribalwear, which will start to remove the unhappy nudity debuffs. I feel like whenever an animal dies on the edge, or dies of blood loss, they always go to the edge of the map, which is a bit annoying. As you can see on the left, I've decided to hunt just everything because it's not really worth picking and choosing. We just need meat, and none of them are aggressive, so there's no real drawbacks to doing so. The colonists will always just hunt whatever's closest. And that's about it. Soon people will be able to start wearing clothes, though Gabe has decided to play a little hoopstone just before finishing, which is okay. But yeah, once we have clothes done, we can work on maybe a few more masks. I'm not sure if Gabe will be able to create them. And then there's the recurve bows that he will eventually need to research as well, which will just be a stronger hunting weapon. And here we can see Jop and Gabe enjoying the first game of cooperative hoopstone on our new little recreation device. A little later on, another day, we have some rare thrumbos come through, 2 of them. They're far too powerful for us to really do anything about. You'll also see there's 2 muffalo at the top of the screen with the little hand petting. We haven't tamed them yet, but I do plan on trying to get Nathan to tame them so that we can have them join the colony. There should be plenty for them to graze on in the area, but also the fur that they will shed should be pretty useful for us just for clothing reasons. We can also, of course, grow cotton, but if we have our own little passive resource that will also level up Nathan's skill, I don't see why not use it up. Otherwise, Gabe has finished one tribal wear. Will is currently wearing it. And we're doing pretty good on food. Will is basically always just working on cooking. No one's starving. Here you can see his new temporary sleeping spot. I'm currently, while just watching this, thinking about where I want to put everything in terms of like how we set up. I think kind of where all these walls are right now will be roughly Will's area. I'm gonna like keep him in the mountains as an undergrounder, but I can have the kitchen, kind of the food storage, and his own bedroom all in one kind of area here by the fertile soil, so that he's always close to where he needs to be. And then I think I'll keep everyone else down underneath. We're running out of corpse storage for Will to cook, so I had to expand it there a bit. But yeah, underneath I can give Nathan a little research bench and put the fence where we'll eventually keep the muffalo or any other kind of animals we heard in there. And I don't know where Jop will be. He'll be somewhere near the front so that he can quickly be there as a meat shield if an attack does come. Same with Nathan. I kind of want him in the front because he will be our primary hunter or shooter or whatever he's needed for. But yeah, for the first time, as Will finishes this meal, we will hit our goal of 10 stored meals that will let Will stop cooking for once. He's currently, because I also have it so he'll stop once we have 40 meat, so he'll still do a bit of butchering, but then he can finally get onto a secondary objective in the colony, which is planting more rice. For the rest of the recording, I don't get up to too much. I decided to change our rice field into half cotton plant, half potato plant for one yield, just to kind of get a bit of crafting resources for Gabe. He's managed to make 3 of the 4 tribal wares so far, and once we butcher those animals that we have, he may be able to get the 4th one for himself. But there's more we wish to do than just make that little amount. We can't keep relying on animal skins the whole time. So I figured I'd give it a try. And potatoes overall are a bit more like bang for your buck than rice, but they take a lot longer, or like twice as long to grow. So now that we have a bit of food backed up, I think we can afford to try the potatoes before winter sets in. I'm not 100% sure how cold we even get in winter here, but it may be an issue. But otherwise, everyone is resting. Not too much progress has been made other than, like I said, food has really been taken care of. And we'll see what tomorrow has in store for us.